Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to get started with our presentation for our class of 2022 seniors. Here is your counseling team here to join you. We'll go through and introduce you to everyone.
Good evening. I'm Miss Berner. I am the counselor for students with the last names A through D. Senior year is fun and exciting, and so I'm glad that you're here to join us.
And I am Mrs. Ho. I am the counselor for students with the last names E through J. Hello, welcome.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Chithaluru, but you could call me Mrs. C. It's just so much easier to say. So I'm the new counselor for all of you with last names K through NA. I'm so excited to get to work with you and get to meet you soon.
And I am also new. I am Miss Arp, and I will be working with you students with the last names NE through SIE. So I really look forward to working with you this year.
So throughout the presentation, you are welcome to leave any comments or ask questions in the YouTube chat. Mrs. Cudmore will be trying to monitor it on the side and answering any questions that come up. If we're unable to get to your question, we will try and create like a Q&A or an FAQ sheet later and post it with all of our resources. But yeah, and then we will also have this presentation available after our presentation. Both the link for the YouTube will be available for you to watch again, and then the presentation itself with clickable links, with hyperlinks, will be available to you as well. So let's get started.
Just real quick, if you can go back, Miss Cudmore didn't get to introduce herself.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Hi, good evening, everyone. I have the last names SIM through Z. I'll be monitoring the chat. See you later.
That's Miss Cudmore. She's great. Sorry about that. All right. So throughout your college application process and senior year, we have some various resources that would be really helpful for you. There are 3 common college applications that our students tend to use. There are a lot of other applications as well, but the most common ones that we find our students using are the Common Application, which is one application that services several different colleges. Not all colleges are on the Common Application, so we suggest that you really start with your college list and looking at the colleges that you're interested in applying to and seeing what applications they use. So if you're applying to 4 or 5 different colleges and only one of them uses the Common App, it might not be in your best interest to use the Common App. But if all 5 of them use the Common App, then it would save you a lot of time to go through the Common Application. The UCs have their own application, and the CSUs also have their own application. It's one application where you select which university you're applying to, and it sends all the information in the one application you complete to all those schools. I would definitely recommend that you keep record of all your passwords and logins throughout this process, because it will definitely become a little bit confusing after a while because they all have different password requirements, as I'm sure you are already aware of. We also have our Canvas site. So we have a Westview Counseling Canvas page. So all students have been invited to, it's called Counseling 2021-2022. And it has a lot of resources, not only for the college application process, but also all of our presentations are available on it. And we do try to push out a lot of our messaging through Canvas. So any information will be available there. And yes, our presentation, all of our presentations, including this one, will be available through our Canvas site, as well as some of our other newsletters that we're going to walk you through as well today. SCOIR is our college exploration and application management tool. We used to use Naviance, so you may have heard that or been looking for how to access your Naviance account. We no longer have Naviance. We have switched over to SCOIR. And it gives the same functionality as Naviance. So you do all your application, all of your document systems. So us sending your school reports, transcripts, all letters of recommendation are all sent through SCOIR. And students create their college application list there, and they tell us what schools they're applying to through SCOIR. So we'll walk you through that process here as well. We also have several SMORE newsletters. We have our general counseling newsletter for all grade levels that does have a section for seniors. We also have a senior year guide. So we have a specific SMORE with all of the resources. This presentation will also be available there. Additionally, we have a scholarship newsletter as well as an enrichment internship newsletter. So those are all really important for you to look at, and this presentation will have clickable links for you to access later. So this is what our Counseling Canvas page looks like. Everything on this virtual office is clickable, so you can click on each of us or our names, and you'll be able to learn some more information, go to where you can schedule appointments with us or emails. And then even there's an online college and career center, a personal social center, and an academic resources area. So this in itself is clickable. And then we have various links on the bottom here as well for you to click on. So our college application information, our senior SMORE is going to be available here. And then all of our letter of recommendation information, including links to our appointments and our brag sheets, are all available there as well. So this is just a snapshot of what we have to offer through those SMOREs. We do have our senior guide, and it has all of the different resources you may need from anything from how to request a teacher recommendation to all the presentations that we offer throughout the school year. So everything will be provided through that senior year guide on that SMORE. We also, like I've mentioned, have our Westview Counseling newsletter, which we try to publish every month at the beginning of every month, as well as our enrichment, internship, and scholarship information. Those are consistently updated. So even if you look today, you might find new things in a week if you check back. So if you don't see something that you're really interested in right now, I would check on it every week or every couple weeks and see if there's something new that pops up. So all of our seniors should have received their transcripts in homeroom on Friday. If you did not receive your transcript in homeroom, either your homeroom teacher did not hand them out, or if you were not present in class on Friday, please go to homeroom tomorrow morning when you normally would go to homeroom and see if your teachers have them there. If they do not, you feel free to come to the Wolverine Center and we will track down your transcript for you. This is just going to be a quick snapshot of what the things you might be looking for in your transcript. So some of our applications, like our UC application, will ask for your state ID. It is at the top of your transcript, right up here. So that is your CS ID or your state ID, depending on what the application asks for. It's also important to notice that any class that has an R listed on the left-hand side of the course number means that it has been retaken and that it does not get factored into the GPA and does not receive additional credit. So you'll see here that it has zeros, 5 credits attempted and versus completed. So they do not get any credit for the zeros, and because they have the R's there, and that means that the grade point average is not affected by those original grades. Another thing to highlight is that for the UCs and CSU applications, they'll be asking how many or which classes were honors or AP level courses. You can tell if it's an honors or an AP level course by the abbreviations on the left-hand side of the course ID number. So if it's an AH, that counts as an AP course. And if it's an HH, that would be an honors course. And those are the courses that are given weighted credit in the GPA. And so in regards to the GPA, our academic GPA is our weighted GPA. That includes any AP or those honors designated courses. And we only have 3 honors designated courses that get extra weighted credit. So those would be Honors American Literature, Honors Principles of Engineering, or Honors Medical Intervention. Those are only 3 honors weighted courses. The academic GPA takes all of that into consideration and does not count in any service classes, so ASB, peer counseling, academic tutor, or our physical education classes. Those classes are not counted into the academic GPA. Your unweighted GPA is the same as academic GPA, but it just does not include the weighted credit for any AH or HH course, any AP or honors weighted course. So the other part that we really want to highlight, and it's really important that you look at right now, is your credit summary. So it will show you every subject area required for graduation credit, how many credits are required for each of those subjects, and how many you have completed at this point. Many of our seniors will just need civics, economics, and English, and maybe a couple electives, or maybe a fine art class or something that's still just waiting for them to take this year. Those should all be taken in be shown in the work in progress column. You should not have anything in the needed column, Some of our students will have maybe 5 credits in the physical education category because they're planning on doing a PE waiver this year for a sport that they're playing. Make sure if you are in that situation that you get your PE waiver completed as soon as possible so that we don't have to worry about your ability to graduate. It's important. So if you do have anything else in the needed column and your counselor has not spoken to you yet, please come see us as soon as possible so we can make sure to get that all straightened out and make sure you have all the credits you need for graduation. All right. So there's also another way. So if for some reason you do not have your transcript and you want to look at it right now, you can actually go to your student view account and go to course history on the left-hand side. If you scroll down, typically it used to have a course history all the way at the bottom. That feature currently is broken, but we did find out that if you click on the name of the class or even the bar, it will populate right after you click on it with the list of courses that you have taken. So for instance, we click on mathematics and you'll see all the classes that you took with the grades received and the credits and the name of the course and when you took it as well. And so if you're waiting for any grade changes or anything like that, I would definitely encourage you to look here on the student view course history. One thing I did notice with a student the other day is that if you have maxed out on your math credit, so this student, for instance, took Math 2A, B, and Math 3A, B, and that meets the 20 credits of mathematics, but they took AP Calculus as well. So AP Calculus will actually be in their elective credits, because once you've maxed out the required number of credits for that category, it will shift over to the elective credit. So if you're not seeing all your classes in one particular subject area, try looking at elective and you should see it there. Right, Ms. Berner, you're up, I think.
All right. I thought I was starting at SCOIR, but yay. So there's a lot of post-secondary options for students. There are 2-year degrees that can lead to vocational training. There's associate degrees and transfer degrees. We also have students that are wanting to do just vocational training, some that enter the workforce and some in the military. So there's a wide range of options, and we just want students to explore their pathway. I like the 2-year degree options for vocational training versus some trade schools because you can get it at a lower cost. I read something recently that vocational jobs are in high demand, like they need people to fill them. There's more jobs than there are students or trained people. So let me just plug in the vocational training. And Ms. Ho, you're doing the forward.
Oh, yep.
One thing our students do is they tend to focus a lot on the West Coast. And if you see, these are the colleges in the US. The circle around the East Coast is, you can see the density of schools on the East Coast. Now, I'm not saying everybody run off and go to the East Coast, but explore options. A lot of our students are very focused on just UCs and CSUs. We have something called the WUI, which is the Western Undergraduate Exchange. And so the states in the western part of the United States that you can see right here have a pact that they will, based on the major, that they will grant. Basically, you don't have to pay in-state tuition or out-of-state tuition. It's 1.5 times of in-state tuition. So while it's not quite in-state tuition, it definitely saves you some money.
And to add on to the WUI, it's also important to, if you are planning on applying to one of these schools, particularly because of the tuition benefits, that you look at what the specific requirements are for those schools. So some require you to do an application specifically for the WUI, some is part of your application process. For some that you have to be in a specific major, while others it's for any major. So it does vary greatly from school to school. But if it does fit you in terms of your major and where you want to be and what you're looking at for school, this is a really great opportunity to not have to pay out-of-state tuition. Because I'm sure many families out there have already started looking at tuition costs, and it's pretty significant, the difference between being in-state and out-of-state. So this is a really great program.
And I'm going to just put a plug in for CSU San Marcos. They are basically our home school. So our students that meet the eligibility are pretty much guaranteed admission to that school. I've been, as a parent, very impressed with that campus. So just want to throw out a plug there on that one. Go ahead. All right. So we, as Ms. Ho said, we've transitioned from Naviance to what is now called SCOIR. And just a quick note, we are still waiting for some updates with AP scores and grade changes. So we have not updated the GPA on SCOIR. It won't be updated until next week. So what you see there is not correct, but after the 17th, we will update that. Here, your parents, you're going to want to invite your parents to participate. You have all of your academic overview, your personal bio, your activities, your colleges that you're going to put in there, career profile. There's a drive where you can upload information for us, etc. So this is just a snapshot of what the profile looks like. And then we have the U Science is available through SCOIR, and that's a career profile. Your college preferences is another tab. And like I said, you can upload to the drive there. So it's really important. We are going to do about 2 slides on this one. The FERPA waiver. Students and guardians need to review and sign the document. We did collect some of them at registration because we hadn't rolled this out completely yet. So if you submitted a paper document, we still need to have you put it in electronically. And the red box kind of shows that this student has not signed either of them. And it will be the first thing when you log into SCOIR that it will say sign your FERPA waiver. So you'll want to do that one. If a student is above 18 or older, they can sign both documents for themselves. If not, the parent has to do the release of authorization, and you invite the parent through the link there. I think that's all on this one. And so when the student goes in, they do the, okay, so I had it backwards. The student does the release of authorization, and the parents have to sign off on the FERPA signature. So on the left is what the students sign, and on the right is what the parents sign. And just to note, we've gotten several of these that have not waived their rights, and we can only release factual data like attendance, grades, courses for those who choose not to release their rights. So if you wanted a letter from a teacher, counselor, or anything like that, it is asked that you do waive your rights. Anything else on that, Ms. Ho, that I may have missed?
Nope.
Okay. The one thing that we really like about SCOIR is it's just really user friendly. For adding colleges, you can drag them down. You can do a pull down menu, or you can just drag and drop things there. It's something that's really important to note, that before you add anything to applying or applied, that your transcript is accurate, up to date, and ready to be sent. So when you move a college to the applying or applied list, this notifies us that we need to go ahead and send your documents, which includes a copy of your current transcript. So big tip, just make sure that those are accurate. And if you have already jumped the gun and you've thrown them into the applying and applied list and moved them out, because we haven't sent any transcripts at this point, so I'd say move them out, put them in the following until you have a chance to review your transcript and make sure it's ready to go. All right, so the top is just basically an application checklist. So make sure that your name's correct in SCOIR, that it matches what is being sent on your application, that the email addresses are the same, what's in SCOIR and what you're putting on your application. Same with the birth date and home address. And we're going to ask that you enter your common application or coalition application into SCOIR when you're adding those schools into the applying list. So you'll want to do your common app or coalition app first, write down that app ID number before you move it from the following into the applied, because it's going to prompt you to put that number in. And again, when sending documents to college, we want to make sure that everything is accurate and up to date before you go into the applying or applied list for that school.
And it's really important that the birthday, email addresses, all of these things are consistent, because that's how the colleges will be able to match all documents to your application. So, and if you are able to put in your Common App ID or Coalition App ID, that will further help them match everything. You just don't want to have a lot of things that are separated. And in addition to that, when you're requesting or when you move colleges over from your following to your applied list or applying list, just know that we are sending things based on due dates. So you don't need to worry too much about whether or not your application or your information will be sent accurate or sent on time, as long as when you're adding your application that you indicate whether it's early action, early decision, or regular decision, and make sure you put the correct application period, because we will be submitting everything by due dates.
Correct. So here's a look of the just different college systems. The CSU has 23 campuses, and the UC has 9. The Common App has over 1,000. The California Community Colleges has like 114 or something, and they all require different things. So right now, this year, and probably in the couple of years into the future, there's no SAT or ACT needed for the CSU or the UC. And it really varies for the Common App. I just pulled up the website, and it is a gazillion schools that are going test optional. The other difference is the UCs and CSUs, when you do the application, you're self-reporting your grades. They may, in January, some schools ask for a copy of your transcript. Most don't, because they go off of what you're reporting. Whereas the Common App schools actually want you to send a copy of your transcript. For most campuses, you don't self-report. So we need to send a transcript in. For community colleges, you're going to request your final transcript to be a part of that, and that will go too. Big thing that students really struggle with, kind of putting their brain around, is we are a semester school. Even though our terminology on campus is that we're a quarter, we're actually a semester. So for example, English 1 is worth 1 semester. English 2 is worth the 2nd semester. So that's a full year. So even though you did it in 1 term, it is a full year. So there's a little identifier down at the bottom for the CSUs and UCs. So just replace quarter with semester and you'll be good. For those students that took an AP class that was linked with an honors, let's just say calculus, for example, it's honors calculus 1, honors calculus 2 for a full year of honors pre-calculus, and then AP calculus 1 and AP calculus 2 for another full year of calculus. So in that case, you're getting 2 full years of math. And that's the same for some of the other things like AP chemistry, AP bio, etc. So it's just really important that you're putting those in as semesters, not putting them in as quarters, and you're putting in 2 grades for every course that you took.
And that is probably the most common mistake most students will make on their UC and CSU application, is putting quarters. And the thing that will notify you that you did it incorrectly is you will immediately be told that you don't have enough A through G requirements, that you have not met your A through G requirements, and you don't have enough English or history or math requirements. And so if you do see that, and you know you've taken all of your English and history classes throughout high school, it most likely is because you put that you're a semester. So that's usually the first way that we know that a student may have put that in incorrectly.
Yeah, and the thing is once you change it, so you did all that work putting in all the coursework and you change it to semester, you've wiped out all that that you input it. So it's really important to start off that we're a semester-based school for every application.
And so there is a question about letters of recommendation, whether they're needed. UCs and CSUs do not accept letters of recommendation. There is not a place to request them or to upload them or anything. One campus in particular does request them from some students, and they will contact those students directly if they want a letter of recommendation from those students. But you cannot opt in to submit letters of recommendations for UC or CSU campuses.
Correct. And the other thing is CSUs is there's no essay, no prompts, where the UCs you answer 4 out of their 8 essay prompts. So, and then Common App has essay prompt as well. So there's a lot of differences if you're looking at education, more education after you graduate.
And also, this is a good snapshot of just an overview of what the campuses need. But we will go into throughout the next, we're going to show you a slide at the very end with our upcoming presentations that we have. And we will have a presentation for the CSU UC application in particular, with every nitty-gritty detail on how to fill that out and make sure you're doing it correctly. We also, I believe, have one on the Common application. So we have more workshops that will go into a lot of this even more. But this is just a good snapshot for you.
Yep.
Okay, so SAT and ACT test scores, you are welcome to take an SAT or ACT if you can get to one right now. I'm hearing that there's still some challenges with that. It's going to be hit or miss on whether or not colleges are going to accept them or need them. You definitely want to look at each college that you're applying to and whether or not they are requiring them for the fall 2022 admissions cycle. For right now, the UCs and CSUs are saying that they are not requiring the SAT or ACT test for fall 2022 admissions. The UC is saying that they will not consider the test even when making admissions decisions. So if you wanted to submit them, you are welcome to submit them, but they won't consider them in admissions or scholarship decisions. They will only use the scores as part of fulfilling minimum requirements for eligibility or for course placement after you've already been enrolled in the school. The CSUs are saying pretty much that they're suspending the use of ACT and SAT exams in determining admission eligibility for all campuses for this coming school year. So I know the UC is transitioning to another system, another test of some sort. But there's no end date necessarily for either one of those. Just know that they are not using SAT or ACT scores. So if those are the only schools that you will be applying to are UC and CSU campuses, then you do not need SAT or ACT tests. If you are applying to any other schools, it is very important that you look at their specific requirements for SAT and ACT tests. While it has been very difficult for California students to take the SAT and ACT, I'm sure many colleges will be understanding of that. We have been able to take them in other states, so it is important to know that schools outside of California in particular may be still expecting students to have some type of test scores. So sign up for them now if you have not been able to, and at least get them on your calendar if you are applying to schools outside of the UCs and CSUs, or the schools that you're applying to do require the test.
Correct.
Other things to also note that I know Ms. Berner is probably about to talk about, I'm guessing. Yep. Even if your admissions does not require SAT or ACT, many WUI scholarship or grant money schools do require test scores to determine eligibility for those particular programs or financial merit. So make sure you're looking at all of those particular pieces as well. Anything else, Ms. Berner?
Nope, just watch that WUI.
So when you're updating your colleges, it's very important that, one, you put in your Common App ID or even your coalition ID, and that you select the type of application. This is very important for your counselors and your teachers in submitting your letters of recommendation, transcripts, and school reports. If you put that you're doing regular decision, but then at the last minute change your mind to early action, you have to understand that if you did that on October 31st and your teacher had been expecting to not have to finish your letter until January 1st, that can become a problem on whether or not all your materials will be submitted in a timely manner. So it goes both ways. We need to be informed on when your applications are due, because we prioritize based on when applications are due. And it's important for you to also make sure that if you're planning on applying early action, that you have the best application possible that you are ready to apply to that school by, let's say, November 1st for this particular campus. Because if you're not presenting the best application for yourself, then it might be best for you to wait until early regular decision when you have more time and energy to put towards those applications at that time.
Yep.
Okay. Ms. Bernard, do you want to go into more of this?
Sure. So for Common App, Naviance, not that you guys know this, but if you have older siblings, Naviance used to be integrated with Common App. SCOIR is not. So Common App does require the students to put in the name of their teachers and the name of their counselors. All you need to do is put in the names and not the email addresses. So just leave off the email addresses, only the name is what's required. But then you do need to add the teacher recommender to SCOIR. So make sure that you're talking with the teacher ahead of time. And because once you put their name in there, they get an email and says, you know, Sam Walton decided that he wants you to be that teacher recommender, and say that teachers already surpassed their number of letters of rec that they can do, and you haven't had that conversation with them. It's just really important to have those face-to-face conversations with the teachers. Follow up with a thank you, ask them what they want as far as, you know, do they need your resume, a brag sheet, anything like that. And make sure that you follow up, you know, with a thank you card. They're doing this on their own time in the evening. And it's important to just acknowledge that they're really spending time to try to get your best application in front of the admission raters. So this is just a step-by-step what you do in Common App. It's you put it in your colleges, you click on recommenders in the FERPA. So you're going to sign the FERPA both in Common App and in SCOIR. And then you're going to invite the teachers and not enter their email address. And then in SCOIR, you're going to pretty much do the same. You're adding your colleges, you're doing the recommendation request, you're entering the teachers' names, where you want so if you want a teacher to send to all of your schools, you can do that. Or if you want them to, you know, only send them to these 5 and this other teacher to send them to these 5, you can do that. Make sure you're typing a message into the box, and then again, following up with them in person more than once, you know, follow up. And then those thank you cards is also much appreciated. I know that they really appreciate when you take that time.
So for the counselor letter of rec process, so the counselors will be completing both your school report for any common application, private, and some of the public out-of-state colleges, in addition to sending your transcript and any letters of recommendation if your school requires a letter of recommendation. It's important for you to look to see if your school requires that, a counselor letter of recommendation. So all of that will be sent together through SCOIR to your colleges. And the process is posted on our Canvas page. So if you go to our Canvas page with that virtual office and you click on letters of recommendation, you can click on any one of our links and it will send you directly to our letter of recommendation form. It's a Google form. You complete that, and then at the end, I know at the end of mine, once you complete the form, you can then schedule an appointment with me. And I believe that's how all of ours are set up. You schedule an appointment through our online schedule appointment portal, and you get a 30-minute appointment with your counselor, or 20 to 30-minute appointment where we discuss your college application plans. You're able to talk to us about your deadlines, make sure that we have all the information needed to write your letter of recommendation, also help you throughout the process a little bit. We are here to help you as much as you need help, and we are here to provide you with as much guidance as you need. Make sure that you do have all your colleges added to SCOIR before you have our meeting. And I know at the top, when you click on my link, there also is a Google Doc. So if you don't have time to sit and actually fill out the entire Google Doc in one sitting, or the Google form in one sitting, you can open the Google Doc and it will have all the same questions, and then you can answer them in a Word document first and then copy and paste them in later if you would prefer. And then same thing with the common application. Make sure you add the counselor's name to your common application, but do not add the email. And make sure you complete the recommender and FERPA sections as well.
And I don't think we put it on here, but just to note that we are setting appointments September 20th through October 8th for those early action, early decision students, and October 11th through December 3rd for everybody who has the January 1st deadline. So when you go onto our calendar and you see that we don't have anything this week or next week, that's because it's not opened yet.
If you're doing an application that is even earlier than like October 1st, then come see your counselor and we can talk to you about it. But typically the first deadlines are usually October 1st or October 15th, which should give you enough time. But so if you were not applying early action or early decision to any schools, please wait a bit to do your letter of recommendation application so that spots are available for those who are doing their applications a lot earlier. Okay, and then like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these are hyperlinked. So I think I clicked off because it went into a hyperlink on this. So just know that things are clickable when you get to our presentation. If you have anyone who is going to be an other recommender, so this could be an employer, maybe a coach, club advisor, maybe a youth leader, you can have them submit their recommendation directly through Common App. That would probably be the best way to do it. You would input, if your school allows for other recommenders, so alternative recommenders, you would input their name, how you know them, and then their email address, and they will receive a direct link from Common Application to submit your recommendation. If they are a past teacher, because I know some of our former teachers who either are no longer here or have retired, they are providing some recommendations for some students, they would email it directly to their counselor and we will upload it on their behalf. And you can also, if your school does not require a counselor specific letter of recommendation and you'd prefer to use that alternate recommendation from a coach or somebody else, you are welcome to have them email that to the counselor and we will submit that letter in place of the one that we would have sent. So requesting a transcript, you will go to your colleges, make sure you have it in the college that you have in your following column. You will then drag them over to your applying or applied column. Like I mentioned earlier, we go by deadlines for most of it, but if they are rolling admissions or if they don't need a letter of recommendation or anything else, we can just send the documents directly from there. I would encourage your student, if they've done that process of switching it from following to applying or applied, and they didn't see it sent by that Friday, to come see their counselor the following Monday and we can make sure that things are sent appropriately. We're going to try and make sure that anything that has been submitted by Friday will get sent before the end of the day on Friday every week. But if we're waiting for letters of recommendation or any of those type of things, then there will be a delay until those are processed and uploaded. So just have your student come check with their counselor if there is any questions about that. But typically, if you submit it, if you change it over from following to applied or applying sometime during the week, and it should be submitted by Friday. The transcript will, not necessarily all of the letters of recommendation and everything else. And then anything else, Ms. Byrne, on this?
No, I think just reiterating that once you do that and make sure that before you do that, make sure that the transcript's accurate.
Yes.
It's really important.
And the best way to do that, to check if it's accurate or if grades have been changed or anything like that is done, is to really look at your student view account with course history, because that is exactly what it is on Synergy, or on our transcript. So what's reflected there is what's reflected on your transcript.
Correct.
And this is the basic information that you will find on all of your WESTVIEW college application information. It will ask you, what is our school code, class size, class ranking, all of this stuff is like, you should take a screenshot of this picture because this is going to be probably the most important information to make sure that it's going to be the basic information that the applications will ask about your school. And so we want to make sure that you put that in all correctly, especially this grading system semester. And we might sound very redundant in that we are really stressing this, and it might seem silly, but this is really the most common mistake that students make, is putting that we're a quarter school.
And the other thing is we don't rank. So there's no class ranking.
Okay.
And
So go ahead. Sorry.
go for it.
Well, I've mentioned a few times, early action, early decision, regular decision, rolling. So this is a great visual on what the difference is between this. This is, like I've mentioned a few times, this is clickable. You can click it and you can see it better. Open it up and you'll see a better visual of it. But basically, non-restricted means that there's no restrictions on how many schools you can apply to, when you can apply to. Well, there's going to be restrictions on deadlines, there's going to be dates, but not on how many you can apply to. So there's regular decision are non-binding, regular, rolling, and early action are non-binding, which means you can apply to them and make sure you apply by the deadlines that every campus has, but you don't have to go there. It's completely up to you on whether or not you want to go there. But that is different from, for instance, early decision. Early decision pretty much means that you are saying, this is my first choice, and if I get into that campus, that is where I'm going to enroll. No matter what, in terms of whether I got into another school or if financial aid is what I want, you're pretty much saying, I am able to fund and go to this particular campus, regardless of anything. And if you do get accepted, you have to pull all your applications before you even find out if you got accepted to any other campus. So it is a very restrictive application decision, but it might be the right one for some students. I've had students who've applied early decision and it was the best choice for them. You can only do that for one school. So you cannot apply to multiple schools through early decision. It is one school that you are making that commitment to, obviously, because you can't attend multiple schools. And then restrictive early action means that you're only applying to one school early action, but it is not binding. So you're not committing to going to that school. You're just saying, I'm going to pick one, this is my one school that I'm going to receive a decision early from. And it may also say that you can't do early decision or any other early actions or anything else. And then you have to confirm by May 1st. So for every school that you apply to besides early decision, you do have to submit a statement of intent to register for that particular campus by May 1st. Yeah, anything else?
Yeah, the early decision is a contract. So the counselor has to sign it, student has to sign it, parent has to sign it. So that early decision that's binding you, regardless of financial incentives, meaning if they give you no money, you're still going to go there. That is a binding agreement. So everybody signs on the dotted line, and that's like your #1 school.
And make sure you do tell your counselor if you're applying early decision, because we have to sign something on our end saying that we have talked to you about the implications of applying early decision, that you understand what you're signing, what you're agreeing to. And if that doesn't get signed by the counselor, then you actually cannot apply early decision. So please let us know if you're applying to anywhere early decision. And this is just more information about that.
That's just the look at that binding agreement, that contract, if you're going early decision. Again, without any, they may offer you no financial incentives to go, and you're agreeing that, yep, you're still going.
Okay.
Talking about financials, the FAFSA opens October 1st, and you want to submit it on October 1st or October 2nd, because it's basically the first in line. It's based on how much resources are available, and the people that apply the first get more than the people that apply 6 months later. So the students who file for the FAFSA early receive more, it says twice as much grant funding on the average. The Cal Grant GPA we upload already, so it is done for you. You signed when you did your registration paperwork, you signed for that. So we always have a lot of students coming in with a form saying, hey, can you authorize the GPA? We've already done it, it's uploaded. And what else? Oh, you're using your tax information from 2020. So it's basically 2 years behind. We know things are different perhaps now than from 2020, but you need to use your 2020, and then you can, once you get your award letter from the schools, you can let them know that there has been changes to the family income, and they can adjust it at the site level. Make sure you're doing it to the ed.gov and not the there's so many other ones like .com or whatever, because then they're going to have you pay for it. This is a free application. So it's a free application for federal student aid. All grants, all loans, every, that are not private. So any governmental loans, parent loans, grants, etc. needed, a student has to have a FAFSA on file. We hear a lot of times, well, I don't know, I won't qualify, etc., etc. I've had multiple reps tell us that they can't even go back to their department and say, hey, I want to offer the student more money unless that FAFSA is on file. So even if you don't qualify, they can still leverage that to offer incentives campus by campus. And then just some really good tips. We have historically about 125 to 150 college reps that come to visit. We have them still, it's just they're going to be virtual, which is kind of cool because you can access them. They know who comes to those visits. So you want to make sure you get in front of those college reps. You want to ask them questions that, a lot of times it's about the culture of the school, etc. Most of the college reps are alumni from that school. And so things that you can't find on the college website are great questions to ask. And always follow up with a thank you again after you have those college rep visits. Those college reps are the ones reading your application. So it's important to be professional, to have, again, through virtual, you guys have been doing this for a while, but to have that professional lens on. You're going to want to narrow down your list. 8 to 10, we really don't like seeing students apply to 15, 18, 20, 32, 36, 42 colleges. You really want to do your research. You're going to save time and money narrowing down that list. You wanted to have most of the schools that you're likely to get into on that list, with maybe 1 or 2 that are just like, out of your reach a little bit. But you really want to just be in that wheelhouse of you're the type of student they're looking for, and they're the type of school you're looking for. You want that fit. We talk about fit a lot. You can do a dedicated college email and share it with your parents because deadlines come up. And sometimes if you're both monitoring that email, because the emails that come from the colleges, the information, you don't get packets of information anymore, it's emails. So if you have a dedicated college email that your parents have access to, you can collectively keep track of those deadlines. Utilize our resources. We have like those 4 s'mores that we showed you earlier. We're going to show you the next meetings that we're having. It's really important. We have several meetings that we just check your application. We want to get your application checked because once it's submitted, it's hard to do anything with. You have to email them and try to connect with them, and they're super, super busy. So we want to just take that 5 to 10 minutes ahead of time to check those applications for you. You really want to proofread those essays. The essays, the intent of those essays is to get across who you are as an individual, as a student, what you're going to bring to that campus, what you've done. So really look at those essays as your voice to come through and tell them about you, what they can't read in your application, what they can't read through your grades, just to talk about you, what you're passionate about, what you're looking forward to, etc. And the other thing is, I would set that goal of by Thanksgiving that your UC and CSU applications are done. Don't procrastinate. If you miss a deadline, they say, oh, sorry, and you've lost that. So it's really important to get ahead of it and dedicate time on the weekends for this college process if that's what you're doing. Not everybody's going to college. So if you're doing this, just make sure you're dedicating time to work on it and keep ahead of it. And then senior year matters. we get the question all the time, well, I have to have English in the first term because it has to go on my college application. Everything you do senior year is going on your college application. They look at everything. So maintain grades. If you're applying to a Common App school, you have to send an initial transcript, a mid-year transcript, and a final transcript. So they're really monitoring. So you need to maintain your grades. If you make any changes, so once you submit your application and say you decide to make a change for term 2 in your classes, you have to notify the colleges. And so it's really important to really line yourself up nicely this year as you head into the college app season. Discipline, you want to stay out of trouble because discipline is reported to those schools. So with that said, anything else, Ms. Ho, on this one?
No, I think you covered everything. Just make sure you're keeping up whatever you get accepted to the college with in terms of GPA and grades. That's what they're expecting you to maintain throughout senior year. I always use an example of a student who got into an Ivy League school who had gotten straight A's throughout all of high school. And then in their senior year, I think they may have gotten a B in one of their classes. I remember in the fall when I came back to campus, I had a letter in my box and it was just sent to me as a copy to inform me because of what they had sent to the student, basically saying that they were being monitored because their grades from senior year were not reflective of what they had been admitted with based on their grade on their transcript they had sent for admissions. So even a little dip, and we understand that things happen, but it can impact your admissions because admissions is conditional upon receiving your final transcript. So please know that your grades and your actions your senior year are very important. And just because that's not part of whether or not they say yes initially, it can be a determining factor in whether or not you actually get to step foot on their campus in the fall. And that's why I would compare you, just to make sure you know that.
And the thing about AP credit, it's listed here. Basically, some colleges, most colleges, but based on your major, your college, etc., will grant college credit for the AP exams. So I call it insurance. So you don't know when, where you're going, what you're studying. Even if you think you do, something may change. So take those AP, if you're taking the AP classes, take the AP exams because it's like insurance because it could potentially give you college credit. All right. So our next meeting is next week, and we're going to be talking about developing and refining your college application list. Again, we want you to narrow it down to what fits you. You fit them, they fit you type thing. We then will go into the following week having the personal insights and helping with some drafting your application essays. Then we go into on October 5th, the kind of the nitty gritty of the UC CSU Common App. And October 20th, the PUSD is having their virtual college fair. And then we have the open labs where we want to see those applications and just we want to get eyes on it before you submit it. So those are in October and November.
So I was watching the chat a little bit in the comments. I just wanted to touch on a couple things that came up. So just so everybody knows, we have not sent transcripts to anything that you've done on SCOIR at this point. So please, if you have put things in the applying or apply column and you are not ready for those things to be sent, please move them over to following. And we have not uploaded transcripts into SCOIR at this point. We are actually waiting until after September 17th because we are giving teachers until then to submit any grade changes from AP test, from any grades from last year, anything like that. So we have until September 17th to make any of those. The teachers have until then to make any of those updates. And then after September 17th, we will be uploading initial transcripts for all seniors into SCOIR. So if you have any of those situations where you're still waiting for something, your transcript's not entirely correct right now, please move all of your colleges over to your following column for now. And then there's some questions about, should I still attend virtual visits even if I've already expressed my interest? I would say yes. A lot of the time, the people who are attending, who are the reps for those campuses, are the people who are helping to read your application and to advocate for you to come to their campus. The more interest you show, the more they will advocate for you and want you on their campus. So please attend those visits. They're virtual. You're more than welcome to have your device and do it outside, or you can come into the Wolverine Center, utilize the space in here if you'd like. We would love for you to attend those and to make sure that your interest is known by the colleges. And then there's just a question about how to send AP and SAT scores. You do it directly through College Board on their website. And you just you log into your account, you say send scores, and it will direct you that way on how to do that. Anything else, Ms. Berner, that we need to make sure to reiterate?
Just really take advantage of the what we're pushing out on in September and October to help support you. We're always welcome to ask questions, but when we get those individual questions on things that we can do en masse, we'd rather have that time to just meet with you about things that we're not already pushing out. So I know we have anxious students already, like applying and doing things, and we're just like, hang on, hold on. It's FAFSA, yes. On the FAFSA, you want to be the first in line to get that money. But unless it's a school with rolling admissions, it doesn't matter if you're the first one to submit, because they hold it and batch review everything. So just make sure you're getting all the information to make your application look the best it can and to reflect who you are as a person and as a student.
And to Ms. Berner's point with the UC and CSU applications, before you submit, please come to our college application open labs. Those are October 13th and 27th, and then also November 3rd, 10th, and 17th on Wednesday mornings, just to have us review your application before you submit it. I can't tell you how many students have submitted incorrect applications and then have to email each individual campus and tell them that they need to correct their application. Remember, your application is kind of your first attempt at showing them that you're going to be successful on their campus. So if you have to email every single campus to tell them you did your application wrong, that doesn't bode well for your admissions chances. So please have us check it over before you submit it. We really want to make sure that you are you're representing yourself the best as possible. We're here to support you. We want to help you throughout this process. We know it can be daunting, not only for students, but also for parents. I'm sure many of you, if you have not gone through this process, haven't done it, even if you haven't done it in a very long time. And so we do this every year, and we want to help you throughout this process. This presentation will be located in various places. It will be on our Canvas page, which also will be where we do the senior SMORE, the newsletter with all the information. So all of these things will be posted most likely right when we finish, and then available. The presentation will be available as well as this video, which you can watch again and again and again to your pleasure. And then, do you need an appointment for a college application lab? No, it's completely drop-in. Students can come and go as they please. Our ideal situation would be that students come with their application completed for us to review. If the student doesn't even know where to get started, they're welcome to still come in and we will get them started too. So most students will just come, show us their application, we double check it looks good, and then they're good to go. It's like a 10-minute process. Whereas some students will come every lab and sit and work on their application, which is absolutely fine too. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you all for spending an hour with us, and we're here to support you. And if you're getting really, you want to get started on something, make sure you're doing your college research. You can start, if you're applying to UC, you need to answer 4 of the 8 prompts. You can start writing. And if you're applying to schools that are Common App or Coalition, that you start with the essay writing, because the application itself is quick and easy. It is the essays that get you bogged down. So if you're excited and want to do that, make sure you're doing your research and then start those writings. This year, the supplementals are pretty heavy. So make sure if you have supplemental essays, again, you're tracking all of this just like your due dates. I have a sheet that I can push out. We can push out, Ms. Ho, for how to track things like that. So I can share that with y'all.
And if there's any questions that were not answered in the chat, please reach out to your counselor. We're happy to answer anything for you. So thank you so much and have a fantastic night. Goodbye. Bye.